How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a look at some of the things that you may or may not have missed about BDSP and Legends Arceus based on the information on the Chinese, Japanese, and Pokemon, like official English websites and trailers and channels and all that. So there's been a bunch of information that you may or may not have seen, and I thought we'd just go through everything. And yeah, shout out to all the people, by the way, who found all these details. I'll be linking to all the information down below if you want to look it up on your own, but it's going to be quite a few things, so sit back, get a drink, and yeah, let's get started. Also, question of today, by the way, guys, just wondering, what is your favorite Pokemon to get a brand new Mega? What is the Pokemon you want to see a Mega Evolution for? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's get started. So first things first, this is a new detail that we've learned, which is, looks like gym leaders in Sinnoh or BDSP give out ball seal stickers when defeated. So it says here, you can buy stickers in shops, but you can also get them in other ways, such as by defeating gym leaders or completing successful super contest shows. So yes, you can collect like the Pokeball stickers from those methods. Those are the different ways to get the actual stickers to put on your, you know, Pokeballs and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be a really useful thing to have. But there you go, that's how you get those. Some more details. These are images we haven't seen before. These are specifically images from like, what do you call it? Specifically from like the, I think Japanese trailer. But yeah, let's take a look at these images, shall we? So first things first, we got like the starter choice here in the beginning. So this is all super nostalgic, by the way. Even the like actual UI they're using, like the text boxes and everything, are made to look a way that like is more consistent, right? So far more consistent with sort of what, like, you know, like what it was back in the day, right? Like that style. So they got that going. They've got like, of course, all the starters right here, and then we also have an image here of Piplup shooting a bubble, like I guess bubble beam or whatever, like, well, bubble attack pretty much. So yeah, we got that going on. The background here, clearly they're fighting on water in this case. I guess this is when you're surfing. And I'm assuming, right, I could be wrong, or maybe you're like fishing here, like with an old rod. In the background you can see like kind of like rocky mountains, etc. But this is clearly an improvement from what it used to be, right? Like details in the background, they've been kind of like really improved, as you can notice. And here we get to see like essentially what you're going to be getting for free if you get the pre-order right. You'll be able to get yourself a Manaphy for free, like the Manaphy egg, and then you get a free Manaphy. So here you get to see what it actually would look like in battle, so to say. But yeah, that's that. Next up though is an actually really interesting theory somebody came up with, which I actually think has a little bit of merit to it. But let's read through what it says. Sinnoh started Mega Theory. Let me preface this by saying people should keep their expectations in check and not necessarily expect Megas. However, I did find a few things fairly interesting. And now you guys may be arguing, oh, but I just got a trailer, there was no Megas there, there's not going to be any Megas. Well, there is always a chance still. And what he says here actually makes so much sense, but let's listen to what he has to say. So the general assumption right now is that the games won't have Megas. However, given that the games have now clearly shown the expansion of the underground seals and contests, I think we're in for more surprises going forward. When looking through the trailer footage, website details, and pre-release screenshots, I noticed we never see Torterra, Infernape, or Empoleon in any capacity. What better way to introduce Megas than when we finally see these Sinnoh starters full of Lucian's first gameplay footage? Given the games are remakes and everyone already knows about the starter of Final Evolution, I find the absence of their appearance interesting, especially given they're only 3 months out. Any thoughts? And like even people like DJ Drizzy says, even in Direct you can see the fully evolved starters, but they're never seen in game. So the many other features are missing too. I think they're saving Megas for later, similarly to Let's Go. They can't show everything at once. Also, they keep showing Lucario versus Garchomp, which is interesting, as both those Pokemon do have Megas. But somebody does make the point here, Lucario and Garchomp are probably the two most well-known non-legendary Pokemon this gen. But yeah, then he says like, I know, but they keep showing them specifically battling each other. These two also happen to have Mega Evolution, almost as if it's foreshadowing, excluding Mega forms of every popular Pokemon. I think not. Now, I do think Megas still are a possibility. Just because they weren't shown off in this trailer, that doesn't mean it confirms they're not happening. You know, there's always a chance. And there's somebody actually made an interesting like post here about BDSP and Let's Go marketing similarities. Boba Savake said, let me first say this is truly absurd and fanfic, but I had nothing better to do at the moment. Fair enough. Basically says, Let's Go reveal trailer. Shows the game having classic Pokemon game overworld, Pokemon Go mechanics, and local multiplayer. BDSP trailer. Shows the game having classic Pokemon game overworld, classic combat system, and multiplayer lobby. Well, of course, also, it did also show the, I think, catching mechanic, if I remember correctly. Then he says, second Let's Go trailer, right, which took a long time to release later on, shows riding Pokemon, first gym battles, shows online ambient. Second BDSP trailer, shows following Pokemon, true, first gym battle, and shows online battle ambient. True, and also what's interesting about BDSP Let's Go is actually the fact, guys, that like both games are built in the same exact engine, the same basis, right? You can even see that from some of the early like footage from the first trailer of BDSP. It actually looks very similar, like the battle like screen and everything. It's all built on that Let's Go formula, right? It's clearly built on that. And also, I think it's clearly built on the Let's Go mentality because Masuda is involved. And Masuda was the leading force behind Let's Go, and he went over to Ilka to help out with this. So I think it's a clear connection there. Now, third Let's Go trailer, more gym battles, Team Rocket, and Mega Evolution. Third BDSP trailer, more gym battles, maybe Pocket plus Looker, because by the way, we still don't know anything about the Pocket. We haven't seen Looker, right? They know people love Looker, right? Yeah, they still need to give us something about Looker. Mega Evolution possibly, yes, this is absurd. I'm starting to regret making this post, but I really want Megas and Looker lol. Since people love Megas and BDSP are not the main competitive games for 2022, it shouldn't be too hard to put them, right? True, exactly, because Let's Go wasn't the competitive game when it came out either. It wasn't serving as some sort of competitive, like pushing force. It just wasn't any of that, right? It didn't serve as any of those things. It wasn't there for that reason. It just sort of kind of was there, you know what I mean? Like, it just sort of existed, like the multiplayer existed, but it wasn't like in any capacity, something like that. So including Megas there, why wouldn't you include it here as well? It just makes sense to me. It's just an extra feature. And I think the way that, like, specifically because they're including other things like the underground, it's been improved, the contests have been improved, all these other things have been improved. Why not also include Megas as a cherry on top, right? That's what I'm thinking, but I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong. We don't really know just yet. Then somebody here pointed out that the Valley Windworks now looks more in line with the original compared to the February trailer, and also they changed the Honey Tree, which is true. You can open up the images and actually do a little bit of a quick comparison. So you can see here what like the I guess what would you call it? You can see here like what the original looked like in the first trailer, right? Like sort of its design and all that, with the tree being very small and just kind of, I don't know, not like as like detailed, but the new tree being far more detailed, larger and more consistent, and looks far more similar to, well, the original, I guess, far more in line with that, right? So yeah, definitely an improvement in like for a fact. Next up though, this image from the Japanese website confirms berry planting all over the region will make a comeback in BDSP. And yes, you can see it in the corner right there. There is berry trees, so yes, we will be able to get berries again, which is nice. Always appreciate that. You can replant berries, always an awesome thing. And that's what he points out that Lucas' hat is missing, which right here you can see it, but if you saw it in the start of the second trailer, when Lucas is like by Lake Verity, I think, you can actually see that he doesn't have his hat on, and he makes an interesting point. So he says, I've been thinking about it since the second trailer, again, in the comparison video that was posted here earlier, but I haven't seen it talked about. Lucas seems to not have his hat at the start of the game, up at Rowan's lab at least. Does the customization apply to just his hat plus maybe Don's beanie, which would be weird as the customization aspects have been full outfits, not pieces like Sword and Shield? Or is there another odd reason? If the customization that suggests we get at the start rather than waiting to the shop, they showed at the old game corner, which, yeah, that's a fair point. Now, I think that you're not going to get the reason like your hat is missing is so that you have to go back to your mom and speak to her and she'll give you your hat, because there's no reason for her to give you running shoes, because it seems like in these games running shoes are just not much of a thing anymore, which that's at least the kind of like the theory I've got with it, but it could be different. It could have to do with the customization itself, so who knows. Next up though, updated build of BDSP and differences. So this is an interesting one, but before we get into that, I do think there is something interesting we have to talk about here about the customization that somebody made a point about. Something interesting about customization. It's super cool the customizations in the game. I've never really dug the default design for Lucas. The scarf and hat just ain't it cheap. So customization plus new art style is going to make us, feel like a totally fresh experience. What's interesting though is that when we've seen customization so far, apparently it's limited to the shop in Veilstone City, which means we probably can't use it until we explored half of the region already. But in the trailer, it shows us with only 4 outfits unlocked. You got the everyday style, Gengar jacket style, cyber style, and casual style, with your money up here listed, which I guess you can buy them. Now, here's what's curious. We see the money indicator in the top right, which means that this is a shop menu, not the can change outfit menu, which makes me wonder if this is all the player has unlocked in Veilstone, since we only have an option to buy 4 of these, could be an indicator that A, we unlock more outfits as we progress through the game, and these 4 will be the first ones available, or B, there are other customization shops in Sinnoh that we don't know about yet with different outfits. I'm leaning towards A, since they have really emphasized the Veilstone shop in particular and replaced the game corner with it. Gonna be fun to see how much there is. And yeah, I guess it's fair enough. It's gonna be interesting to see how this is all gonna work. But I think it's called a metronome style shop. It's called a metronome style shop, so I'm really surprised that they change outfits you can buy every day. So yeah, that's what I think as well. It feels more likely that it's gonna be, since the metronome part is in the name, it wouldn't surprise me if that's specifically what's happening here, right? That like the outfits in the shop change every day for what you can buy, which actually would make a lot of sense because that would give you a reason to come back every once in a while. Maybe they'll have exclusive outfits for like certain parts of the year, like maybe in December for like for Christmas they might have something specific there. But yeah, so updated build of BDSP and differences. The Chinese, Japanese, and Korean websites trailers use a mixture of old and updated builds of the game, and here's some of the differences to the English one. So the Chinese trailer, the do encounter shows leaves being blown and staying longer on screen versus the English one. So if you open up these images, I guess this is the, if we just check it right here, we're going to mute the actual audio. So here are the leaves being like blown on the screen, and yeah, they last for a bit longer there. And let's look at the English one here real quick and see how long they last, if there's a difference there. Come on. Yeah, they're shorter, much shorter. That's definitely that's definitely something that's noticeable. They were definitely much shorter, which is interesting. But yeah, so clearly there are small differences like that. The super effective text under the moves added to the Chinese trailer, but absent from the English one. And let's open up these and see if this is the same thing. So let's check. Here there is no details that show that like the move is going to be super effective or anything. Here it does show it under. You can see the subtext right there, which I guess in Chinese says super effective. So that is present. Then you see the local and global battle room is updated in the Chinese website, showing a textured ceiling and lights versus the Japanese one. If we open up these, you can sort of see what he's talking about. So yeah, up here you've got like the lights right on the sides. Yeah, you've got the lights on the sides up here, and you can see the roof sort of. Here the roof is like literally just empty. So this is clearly like a much later build that's more complete versus this one, which is a much like, earlier version that I guess isn't as complete as the other one. So this is the Japanese one, this is the Chinese one, and clearly there's a difference there. So yeah, there's clearly quite a few things, and he does say you can go to the actual page and check it out yourself if you want to. But yeah, clearly differences are present, which means these games are still being actively developed, by the way, which is even something Masuda tweeted out himself. But yeah, so next up though, in the Grand Underground Secret Bases, the English trailer shows up 18 statues being able to be placed, but on the Chinese and Korean websites, it's limited to 8, which suggests the return of furniture and goods. If you actually check these images, you will see what they're talking about. If we open up both, if you look at the top right corner, you'll see the number, right next to where my face cam is. So I'm going to move my face cam down so you guys can see what we're talking about. So you can see right there, it's like statues placed. In the English one, it's 2 out of 18, right? But in this one, in the Chinese one, it's 2 out of 18 in the previous one. But in the Chinese one and the Korean one, I guess, it says 2 out of 8 instead of 2 out of 18, which could be a clerical error, like a issue just there, they messed up maybe, but it doesn't seem likely to be the case, This doesn't seem to be likely. Also, this image seems a lot more dark in its design than this one. This one seems a bit more light and this one seems far more detailed almost, but maybe it's just the lighting that makes a difference, like the lighting and then the actual image. But yeah, he does then point out that this could, have to do, it's limited to 8, which suggests the return of furniture and goods. But yeah, I do think we'll see furniture and stuff returning as well. But also here, what's interesting is, this looks like there's far more space in the Chinese one. Like, look at the amount of boxes here that you can place within. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So about I'm gonna count in Bosnian. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So about 12 of them. And then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's actually 2 more. There's an extra bar there, right? Which does add more space to it. So maybe you can place less, which doesn't make a lot of sense that you would place less, be able to place less things because there's more space. Wouldn't you be able to place more? Like, it just seems a little contradictory almost. It just seems really, really contradictory, but again, who knows what the point is there, so we'll have to see. But furniture should be back, hopefully. Next up, here's some new artworks, by the way, for the games. If you haven't seen these, I was actually looking for these, which is great now that we have them. But yeah, we've got Lucario, which mimics, by the way, its actual design. That's the actual design of the sprite from back in the day. Same thing with Garchomp, mimicking his old design. Same thing with basically everyone, even Shinx, like Bidoof, of course. You got Starly as well. You got Pikachu. Same. Everybody's basically got a mimic of their original. Even Pikachu, man. Even Pikachu's got this original characters as well. But literally every single one of them, everyone's got their original kind of sprite positions which is amazing. I think that's awesome that they're doing that. But yeah, so that's quite a bit. And then of course there's a final thing here about BDSP, which is that they've updated, like an update from Eclipse here, that fairy type is confirmed, if you're still wondering. So yeah, fairy typing is confirmed. You can see right here in this image, fairy typing is in the game, so that's going to be, well, pretty straightforward if you didn't already know it. If you're wondering if fairy typing was in, now you've got a confirmation. Now, here's an interesting post made by this individual, non-important guy here, who says the map and the region's name in the first trailer was in the first trailer all along. The words and the 5 characters along, and the first letter is similar to the H-shaped known. And you can see that right in this image, that yeah, this is like literally right there, the first letter right there is for Hisui, right? Hisui, like Hi-I-S-U-I, Hisui, right? Which also, this gives us an indication of at least those letters, right? Which ones they are. But also, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because not all of these are the same letters. So I don't know, H-I-S-U-I. So this and this letter are supposed to be like the letter I, right? But it's not the same. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but yeah, that could be the indication. And also we can see the actual map right there on the, you know, the literal map on the freaking book is also present, which is pretty freaking cool if you ask me. So I don't know, I'd love to know what you guys like really think about that, if that's the case, if this is like actually accurate. Then there's more information coming to us from Eclipse, who says, update on Legends. When you boost stats in Legends, there will be no message saying which stats were changed. Instead, we'll get a pop-up icon near the Pokemon's name. This means there are 5 different icons indicating attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. Here we see 2. So if we open up the image, we can look like a bit closer, I guess. Like basically, he's going to use the you know, the style here, and then you can see the indication right there. Now those buttons, we don't really see what they're exactly like, but those will be the indications for, you know, I guess if our Pokemon has like a you know if it's been like its speed has been increased, or a special attack or defense, whatever. That's how it's going to be indicated, which I think is actually pretty useful, because sometimes like you gotta keep track of those sort of things. But like yeah, it's not super important to have that there. I always do appreciate though in Pokemon Showdown that you can see like how much your Pokemon, like the number would be there for like when you use like sword attacks or something, you know. Either way though, Agile Style. Using Agile Style status moves like Calm Mind will consume 2 PP instead of 1. So that's interesting. If you use that, it actually takes more of your, like, you know, your PP, so which is, that's fair enough. We don't have any proof at the moment. The same will happen if you use Strong Style, but if that's the case for both, this is one of the downsides of using Strong and Agile Style moves. Yeah, you'll just use, like, lose more of, like, the PP on your moves, which means you'll have less amounts to actually go for. You can see that there, 10 out of 10. Using the Agile Style, you're down to 8 out of 10. So yeah, that is actually an interesting detail. So apparently there are different size differences that can be seen on screen and just not just written in the deck. So yeah, it's cool, especially during the battle against another Pokemon, because if you're using a small size Pokemon, it would seem like you're facing a giant threat. And if you both you and your opponent big, then it seems like a kaiju battle, which is true. And here is like a post like that actually, like, you know, there's a post here that actually shows it, right? Like you can see right there between the Japanese and English trailer, the big differences between like the actual Ursaring. So in Pokemon Legends, the wild Pokemon you catch can be of different sizes. Some will look different, quite different for their size. So in the Japanese one, you know, like, I guess Ursaring looks a little smaller, and in the English one it looks massive, okay? It just looks like towering over right on there, which is insane. But yeah, it's just an incredible one. Somebody actually here did the thing as well. You can see, like, you know, the different sizes. I guess like 1'7" is, I guess, like what that is supposed to be. I'm guessing. I don't know like American, like, you know, conversion or whatever. So I have no idea. But yeah, you can clearly see the differences here. Like you can clearly see like how much larger it is in like the bottom image of the English trailer. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this is gonna work. I mean, unless this is like a perspective thing, but it does seem like this is the case, that like Ursaring may be the same size, but like your actual Rhino might be smaller in this case. But yes, that's gonna be really unique. But next up, more differences between Japanese and English trailers. So of course, you can see that there's a clear difference between like the colors in them. With like the first one here being a bit more tame, with this one being a bit more detailed and darker. Then we have like a difference here in the actual menus. You can see right here, like, for some reason there's like a little hatchet thing, or like a little hammer, which isn't there in the other one. Here we just see a bag and whatnot. But yeah, you got that, and then you also have like this box, which looks different as well. And then we have the actual battle here. So this is, so he actually says like, there's like a bunch of details here that he gives. So Wurmple is a little smaller in the Japanese trailer. And also, yeah, it's like the darkness in the image as well. So it's actually a bit smaller. Then next up here, they sell and buy part of the UI is the same. Fair enough. But what's with the deal with the little thing here? But here it looks different in the English version. So yeah, it does look a little bit different. What's with the hammer? And in the Japanese version, then you have also a little bit of a difference. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But yeah, this is from the Japanese trailer. Man, that's bright. So yeah, like there's really a lot of brightness going on here. That is true. Then in this one, it's a lot more tame, but also a little bit more consistent. It looks like a lot tamer, but it's like, that's more like it. I assume the lighting overall was toned down, which yeah, it definitely was. So the Pokédex in the Japanese version is much brighter and things blend like together weirdly. And the text is kind of hard to see and everything. But here it's like a bit more tame, I guess. Like kind of calmed down. It's a lot nicer. It also shows the male Shinx instead of a female one, which is interesting. Different tasks were completed in different trailers. So you got some research tasks here, like number codes, times you've seen the quick attack, numbers you've evolved, etc. And then here it's like different like points, so you can see like just 3102, and then here it's 3304. I wonder if there's actually any like details in these numbers. Like sometimes they'll leave like interesting little hints. But yeah, so let's continue to the next thing. Also interesting, different size and weight ranges are shown. I guess we'll have to fill them up too. So I guess we'll have to like fill in different heights of a certain Pokemon we might need. I took this from a French trailer because it showed the meters and kg too, so that's good. 0.49 meters, so that's something I would understand, and not the like inches and whatnot, because I don't understand that stuff, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, it is what it is though. So yeah, like you guys saw earlier, there will clearly be like differences in the size and all that. So that's that. Now, this is an interesting kind of like theory that's already came up with. Like I said, this video is long, so we're going through everything that I could sort of find that was really interesting. But basically, possibilities of new evolutions in Legends Arceus. I think there's a good chance we might see another evolution in this game for a few reasons. First of all, we've seen the other Pokemon getting new forms and evolutions they don't have in any other games that they're set in present day. So that opens up a possibility for Eevee and many others. Secondly, there's been a pattern of new evolutions being introduced. Every second generation starting with Gen 2 added at least one new evolution type. So yeah, that's actually true. So Gen 1 was what introduced it, and then starting from Generation 2 is where the pattern starts, right? So Gen 2 introduces like, 2 new evolutions, then Generation 3 doesn't have one, and then Generation 4 introduces a new evolution, right, with like Leafeon. Then Generation 5 doesn't have one, and Generation 6 introduces, Sylveon. Generation 7 doesn't have one, and then Generation 8 happens, but we never saw it. But, as mentioned by him here, so before Sword and Shield came out, there was lots of people expecting a new one to show up in Gen 8, though that never happened. But since Legends is still part of Gen 8, which is true, it's still part of Gen 8, they could add a new one here and it would still fit into the pattern. Also, they confirmed this game is Gen 8 by saying that competitive will stay in Sword and Shield. That pretty much confirms this is a Generation 8 game, right? It stays within the Generation 8, like, staple, right? So yeah, still a Generation 8 game until Generation 9 releases next. But yeah, with those things in mind, it's likely that we don't get a new Dragon type, that we're going to get a Dragon type evolution. The typing would make sense since this is the game that's far in the past from the main series timeline, and Dragons being tied to old myths would make sense. Dragon is also the only type that Eevee doesn't evolve into that was a special type attacker before the Gen 4 physical special split, not counting Fairy, which obviously didn't exist back then. Those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think of this idea? Personally, I think a new evolution in these games would make a lot of sense. It would actually fit in really well, and it would still be Gen 8, and it would still keep that, like, pattern going, if they want to keep that pattern going, so to say. But yeah, so, I'd love to know your thoughts on it, lads. But let's continue next on. I'm totally obsessed with this, and it doesn't prove anything, but I analyzed these trailers in different languages, and it seems like the footage was used in all trailers without any text in take-on from the earlier build, using the entirety of the Japanese trailer. So here it says, the English footage has softer colors, so I'm Kamado, commander of the Galaxy Expedition team, and then here, the Japanese footage blends with the text next screenshot perfectly, unlike the English footage. So yeah, here it's like a little bit more bland, I guess. Here it's like, it's nicer, it like sticks out a bit more in a nice way. The next one here, this part is shared among all trailers, its colors are the same as the Japanese trailer, not the English ones. Then here, this is too bright, even I can tell this. This is what leads me to believe the Japanese trailer is an earlier build. Notice the absence of lampposts. Yeah, there's nothing in the background, but also super bright. Here, it's more tamed down, you see more details in the face and everything, like it's too bright here. Here, this shot in the English trailer also has better lighting, the facial features don't blend in. Good point, it's true. The English exclusive footage has a dirt path in the background. You can see a dirt path in the back right there, like right around there, you can see a dirt path. And then you look like now in this version of the image, which is like basically the same area, it's literally the exact same area, look, it's the same place. The trees have been moved around, and there's also a dirt path now added. So as we can see, the footage in the trailer share lacks the dirt path. And they say also the position of Pokemon blends in perfectly in the Japanese trailer with the shared footage. So yeah, I don't know. It's like it's just a lot of small details. Next up, image of Cynical, exclusive to the Japanese Legends Arceus website. I really like how its flame seems to be out, but it's passive. Its flame should be constantly on exclusively during battles or tense situations, in my opinion. I don't want to pet it and get burned when we're just chillaxing. So yeah, like we have seen that its flames are on though. They do like actually burn, but they don't burn when it's like, you know, in a passive state, right? And then it like starts burning again. So yeah, interesting details. Next up, one that I actually love, a detail that I love here. Another detail I noticed is that Luxury has its own animation for Wild Charge in Pokemon Legends Arceus compared to Sword and Shield. Further details in the comments. So here we got like two images, you know, that kind of show it off, but here's what he explains it. So this was another part of the trailer that really caught my attention as it looked pretty great. In particular, when Luxury uses Wild Charge in Pokemon Sword and Shield, it stays in the idle pose, shrinks into an electric ball, and then rams into opponents before exiting the electric ball and returning to the position it started at. All while it's in its idle pose, which looks really strange and off. And yeah, that is true. That's something I hated about like some of the moves. They just look so static and boring. Now, in Legends Arceus, it actually moves back a bit before jumping into the air, doing a somersault and slamming down on Lucario here with a paw or body slam with electrical energy before jumping back to where it started, which is why I think while I think it could use some technical touch-ups, is a far better animation. For reference, here's the moment I'm talking about. If you go to the actual trailer, you can see what he's talking about. This actually looks so much better, and I'll try to like, you can see like it actually like spins up into the air. We're gonna like slow this down so you guys can see what we're talking about here. Let's just go to playback speed, and let's play like half the speed. So just look at the details for when it like actually jumps in the air. Look, it like does a somersault, you know, like a spinaroo, and then it like actually dashes down with its paw, which is like a million times better. It just looks far more detailed. Like it is way better. So yeah, definitely an improvement. You know, definitely an improvement from what it used to be with, you know, in Sword and Shield. So amazing. And next up, the final thing for this video, regarding the post, I theorize this is the security corps building for the badge design, and you can see the badge right there. Might be wrong about the security, who the security corps is though, but there are different corps, you know, like corps like within like the actual game. And what's interesting is about like these corps is that they're basically a similar thing to like Attack on Titan, right? Because you have like the survey corps, you know, you've got like I don't know, like I can't remember the other one that was. The survey corps is the most important, okay? But basically you got all these different like, you know, groups of the government, right, that do different like duties, almost like in an army, how you have like, you know, the Air Force, you have the you know, the Navy, etc., right? Basically it's like similar to that. And what makes me kind of intrigued by that is that also if you look at the village itself, it has a wall around it that's supposed to keep the wild Pokemon out, because in this version of the Pokemon world, back in these times, humans and Pokemon were not connected the way they are in the world of Pokemon that we are used to, right? This is back when humans and Pokemon feared each other, and, you know, humans saw Pokemon almost like monsters, like literally pocket monsters, right? Like, it makes more sense, right, that they would like want to have these groups that would defend themselves, would be ready for battle, etc. It really like makes this interesting situation where like, what could the big baddie be in this case? Is it Arceus? Is Arceus going to send a bunch of like shadow Pokemon to attack the village, and you're going to have to like help out defend it? That would be a really interesting like part of the story if they just send a bunch of Pokemon attacking the village. That would be really cool and unique. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, then drop a like down below, and also make sure to answer our question of the day, which I asked you guys at the start there. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, what Pokemon you would really want to see our new Mega for? Let me know in the comment section down below. That's it for today, lads. Freaking love you guys for all the support. Thank you for watching. If you want to check out any of the stuff I covered, it's all going to be in the links in the description down below. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace out. Bye bye, ladies and gentlemen.